And now, Distraction News with your anchor person, Dora Smarmy.
Good evening, I'm Dora Smarmy, and welcome to Distraction News, where we give you the news, and at the end of our newscast, I'll ask you 5 questions about what I've reported. So pay close attention and try not to get distracted. This just in, tornadoes! A tornado is a dark funnel-shaped cloud containing violently rotating air that can develop within a heavy thunderstorm cloud and extends to the earth. In fact, that's what its name means. Tornado, from the Spanish word tronado, meaning thunderstorm. Although tornadoes form all over the world, the United States gets hit more frequently and stronger. The average speed a tornado can move across land is 30 to 40 miles per hour, but has been clocked as fast as 70 miles per hour. And its rotational speed can get up to more than 300 miles per hour. When tornadoes form over water, they are called waterspouts. They last longer than tornadoes, but they aren't as strong. Tornadoes can be over a mile wide or really skinny. Sometimes they can even be invisible. Uh-oh, I'd better hang on to my wig. Flight. For an airplane to fly, it must have air. Air, although invisible, has a lot of power. The power of air pressure. Think of a gust of wind giving you a push. Moving air has a lot of push or lift. An airplane's wings are designed for lift. Air moves rapidly over the top of the wing and slowly underneath. The wings rise when the slow air pushes up from underneath the wing harder than the rapid air pushes down from above. This is the effect of lift versus weight, or the Bernoulli principle. Once in the air, the plane flies forward because of thrust from the power of the engines. Thrust makes the plane go faster. Drag slows it down. So the sleeker the shape of the plane, the faster it goes. During takeoff, thrust must be greater than drag, and lift must be greater than weight, so that the airplane can become airborne. So in other words, fasten your seatbelts and put up your tray tables, because we've got liftoff. Dinosaurs. Sorry. Ever since I saw Godzilla, I've had that reaction. Dinosaurs first appeared on the Earth during the Mesozoic era, some 200 million years ago. The word dinosaur means terrible lizard. While dinosaurs were some of the largest creatures in history, there were some that were as small as a dog. The king of all the dinosaurs was the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was the largest meat-eating animal ever to live on land. Then there was the very lovely Triceratops, who, although kind of scary-looking, was a plant eater who would never attack a human, if there were humans back then, which there weren't. There are many theories on how the dinosaurs died out, one main one being that a giant meteor hit the Earth, killing them all. Okay, and now our top story today, earthquakes. The Earth's crust is made up of pieces called plates. The pressure from the built-up heat and gases under the Earth causes the plates to rub against each other, causing the Earth to shake. This is called an earthquake. The cracks between the plates are called faults. Faults at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean cause earthquakes at sea, producing huge waves that are called tsunamis, which is Japanese for tidal wave. When they hit land, the waves can be as high as 150 feet. Wow! And finally, to measure earthquake activity, scientists use an instrument called a seismograph. Well, that was pleasant, wasn't it? We investigate the glamorous world of insects. Insects are known as invertebrates, meaning they have no spine. Most have a hard protective outer skeleton or exoskeleton. There are 3 parts to an insect: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. There are more than 1 million species of insects. In fact, there are more species of insects than there are all other species combined. Beetles account for over 250,000 alone. Insects hear sounds through ultra-sensitive hairs on different parts of their bodies. Some insects, like dragonflies, have not changed for millions of years, yet others, like fruit flies, are still evolving rapidly. While many insects are seen as disease-carrying pests, they also play a vital role in the decomposition of dead plants and animals, speeding the recycling of nutrients. Well, was that disgusting enough for you? Now for our top story today, mummies. The ancient Egyptian pharaohs believed that death was the beginning of a great journey. They preserved their dead through the process of mummification, and then buried them in tombs or pyramids with food, clothing, jewels, servants, and even pets. The mummification process was highly effective and has preserved some bodies for nearly 5,000 years. After death, the ancient morticians would remove the brain and many vital organs. For mummification to occur, all water must be removed from the body. This is so bacteria cannot break down the body's tissue. To thoroughly dry it out, they would pack the abdominal cavity with drying compounds and immerse the body in saltpeter for about 40 days. After that, the body was washed, repacked with spices and the drying compounds, and wrapped in bandages soaked in resin. Quite a process, just as Tutankhamun, one of the most famous mummies ever. Hey, by the way, shouldn't we call male mummies daddies? The Milky Way, the one without the nougat center. Our Milky Way is a galaxy, which simply is an enormous group of stars. Scientists believe that galaxies are formed from vast spinning clouds of gas, which can take on a number of different shapes. The Milky Way was forged into a disk shape, becoming what's known as a spiral galaxy. The Milky Way is made up of the Earth, the Sun, and about 200 billion more stars. The Milky Way is so large that it would take light 100,000 years to travel from one end to the other. The Milky Way actually spirals, and the Sun takes about 220 million years to make one revolution. This is known as a cosmic year. Galaxies occur together in groups that are called clusters. The Milky Way is part of a cluster of at least 20 galaxies that is some 5 million light years across. Tonight, we investigate internationally as we look into the United Nations. The United Nations, or UN, was formed in 1945 to promote world peace. Although the United Nations building is located in New York City, the land is not part of the United States. It has its very own internationally zoned land. The General Assembly, which can discuss any world problem, includes every single member country in the United Nations. The 15 members of the Security Council discuss matters of peace and security. And when there is need to send UN soldiers into the field, they are supplied with blue helmets so as to identify them as peacekeepers. The chief officer of the UN is the Secretary General, and he or she is elected for a 5-year term. So, we've just presented a world of knowledge. I wonder just how much attention you've been paying to it. The ear and how we hear sound. Sound waves, or airborne vibrations, are like the ripples produced from a rock being thrown into a pond. When the sound waves travel into the ear, they vibrate a flap of skin called the eardrum. The eardrum's vibrations move 3 tiny bones: the hammer, anvil, and the smallest bone in the ear, the stirrup, which vibrates another piece of skin called the oval window. The oval window pushes fluid into the inner ear, and it moves tiny hairs attached to nerve cells, producing nerve signals that go to the brain. Oh, now that's really going to drive me nuts.